Good evening, Otherworldlies. This is Queen Juliana, your Dark Mask Diva. Have you ever thought about the way you talk to yourself? Have you ever thought about the way you talk to other people? Have you ever thought about the way you talk about things in general? Well, probably not. You probably feel like when you're complaining and you're venting, you're just talking about just the way things are, or you're just blowing off steam, or you're just saying whatever, right? You don't think about what you're saying and what it means, and that you are actually creating things with the words that you say. Now, I know not everybody believes in the Bible, but if you don't, just take into consider what I'm saying, as a metaphor, okay? If you don't believe in it. So, because the Bible is full of metaphors. So, God was creating everything in 7 days. And what he did to do that was he spoke everything into existence. Everything we understand as human beings, he spoke it into existence. Like he said, let there be light. All right, so of course the sun was created. That's how he created the sun. And then he started speaking all these things into existence, things that we understand in the natural world. We understand as human beings to exist. And I understand, but I don't remember exactly what else he said in order because I haven't heard that lesson in years, but so I don't know how it goes in order. So I'm not going to try to say it because I'm going to get it wrong. But it was all the things that we understand in the natural world, like, the oceans and the lands and the animals and all these other things. And then finally he created mankind. All right. So, and it also lines up with science. So, as we know, the Bible is full of metaphors and all these other things, and we could line it up with scientific study. So, the metaphor lines up with how science works and everything like that. But if you want to think about this, God spoke everything into existence. So, what he basically did was he basically told the universe what he wanted. Here's the universe, here's God. He's like, okay, this is what I want. Bam, he used his words. All right, so what do we tell children when we want them to communicate? We tell them not to hit. We tell them not to whine. We tell them, not to tug on our clothes. We go, what do we say to them? Use your words, right? Okay, well, there's a reason. There's a reason we teach them to use their words. It's because words actually have very powerful meanings, okay? And, when people say sticks and stones and everything like that, well, words actually do have very powerful meanings. We just say sticks and stones because we're trying to tell people not to let other people bother them. But words actually do hold a lot of power, and I would just like to call this to everybody's attention because I want to let everybody know how much power they actually have and how much power they're actually using when they use their words. Okay, so using your words. When you want to create your own reality, you need to use your words. All right, you need to think about what you're saying. Now, I know we all like to complain. We all think we're going to feel better once we start complaining. Okay, well, that's up to a certain degree. It's okay to go and, have a grievance. Tell somebody something's wrong and that kind of thing, right? You go, say, hey, this is wrong, blah, blah, blah. I don't like this or whatever. Or write it down. Hey, this is bothering me. Whatever you need to do to get it out, whatever you need to do to get somebody to solve a problem. But when you're complaining about something, make sure you're doing it in a way where there is a problem-solving element to it, okay? Don't just whine and complain, for no reason. All right, have there be some solution oriented basis to it. Okay, so don't just do it to drum up a bunch of negativity. All right, because this is what happens when you start complaining too much and talking about a bunch of negativity. It just keeps you in that negative space. It just makes that negativity that much more of a reality. Okay, for example, if you go around complaining about what you don't like about yourself, okay, you're just making it more of a reality. Like, say, like we talk about body image on the show, right? If you go, oh, I don't like myself, I'm so fat, and blah 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 blah. Okay, you know what? When you say stuff like that, okay, now I'm gonna reverse this. I am not fat. I'm gonna come out and say this right now. I am not fat. I love my body. Okay, so I wanted to make sure I came out and said that, because I'm going to tell you this right now. When you say things like that, your mind is creating exactly what you just said. All right, so you are literally telling your mind to make you fat. When you're saying things like that, you are literally creating that reality when you say things like that. And you're going, whoa, this is too metaphysical for me. This is too weird for me. Okay, well, if you think that, but I would just caution you, not to say things like that. Don't say things like that, because you're creating your own reality. What you want to say is, I have enough fat on my body. I can lose it. You can just, give yourself permission to lose that fat. I have permission to lose the fat on my body. You can go ahead and put it that way. Like, I have enough fat on my body, and I give myself permission to lose the fat on my body. You can put it that way. All right. So you can feel comfortable letting it go. Okay. So you can completely paraphrase it like that and put it that way. Give yourself permission to feel healthy, to feel abundant. Everything you want to speak is abundance. All right, you don't want to put yourself down. You don't want to go, oh, I'm so stupid. You instead want to say, hey, there's more I can learn. And what can you do to learn more? You can hang around people smarter than you. And I recommend that. Go around people who are smarter than you are. Don't be afraid to be around people who are smarter, and close your mouth and open your ears, okay? Just go hang around people that are smarter than you. Don't go around where you're the smartest person in the room, because what's going to happen is people are constantly going to be asking you questions, and it's going to annoy you, okay? And another thing, you're going to fall into the trap of your ego is going to expand, okay? Your head is going to expand, like you're going to get this overblown ego because you're going to be the smartest person in the room. Everybody is going to look to you for answers all the time. And then the onus is going to be on you to solve the problems all the time. That is freaking exhausting. You don't want to be the smartest person in the room because for one, everybody's going to compete with you and try to be smarter than you. And you're going to get annoyed because you're going to know you're smarter than everybody. So you're going to be tired of being smarter than everybody. No. I'm going to let you know. I've been around people where I was the smartest. I got really tired of that shit. I got tired of that shit really quick because they kept trying to be smarter than me, and I already knew that I was smarter. So I'd be like just rolling my eyes and I got tired of explaining to them why they were wrong and why they were ignorant, and to tell them to stop trying to be smarter than me. And and my ego got overblown because I already knew that I was so much more intelligent than they were. So you don't want to be in that situation. You want to be in a situation where you can humble yourself and the other person is smarter, and you can learn and be a better person. You don't want to get exasperated with other people all the time. All right, you don't want to be in a position where you're the teacher all the time. All right, you want to be in the position where you're the student. You want to be in the position where you can better yourself. All right, so I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole, but I'm just letting you know you're not going to grow as a person if you are always the smartest. Okay, and you don't want to be You don't want to be in the position where you're always of service. You don't want to be in the position where you're always giving back when you're not getting. Okay, you don't want to be that. You want to be able to learn and grow and better yourself. So you don't want people always taking from you and picking your brain constantly. All right, so your brain doesn't understand when you're complaining about something that you're just venting. Okay, it doesn't differentiate positives and negatives. So you're going to, when you're saying something in a sentence, I'm not really articulating this very well, but you have to say everything in a positive way, where you're giving yourself, where you're always speaking abundantly. Okay, so you can't ever put yourself down. And what you want to do is not put other people down either, okay? Because that is it's morally wrong to put other people down. Think about the way you're speaking to others. Speak to other people the way you want to be spoken to, but also speak to yourself the way you would like other people to speak to you. Be kind to yourself. Don't put yourself down, because you want to grow spiritually. You want to grow abundantly. So just believe that good things are coming to you. Don't be afraid to sell your possessions that you don't need anymore. I sold some possessions the other day that I didn't need anymore, and then I found something today that I needed, and I found it for free. I got something I needed today for free because I sold some possessions the other day that I didn't need anymore. I mean, that's kind of how the cycle of abundance works. Okay, so don't be afraid to let go of things. All right. Always speak positively. Say, I know this is going to work out. I know God's got my back. I know the universe is in my favor. All right. Just say, I'm loved. I'm favored. Okay. And keep in mind, if you have a plan and you're persistent, that is really the way to be successful. The only way to not be successful is give up. So as long as you're not giving up, you're gonna get there. I mean, it might take a while, but you're gonna get there as long as you're persistent. It's really persistence is the key to really do anything. So as long as you're persistent at something, eventually you're gonna get successful at something. You just need to be persistent. Okay? The answer is going to present itself when you're ready. So you are going to get something, and it might not even be the success you're looking for. Usually inventors, when they invent something cool, they were trying to invent something else instead, or they were searching for something else, and then they made this whole other discovery and they invented something else instead. That's usually how that worked. Did you know that? So just keep cracking at it. Just keep doing it. It's persistence. It's just you don't give up. And when you fall down 8 times, you get up. You fall down 7 times, you get up 8 times. Okay, I want to make sure I get that right. But fall down 7, get up 8. Okay, so you're just never giving up. Okay, as long as you do that, and always believe in yourself. There are going to be people who don't believe in you. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about what other people think. Don't worry about other people. What they think of you, how successful they think you are, what they think of the way you look, if they think you're smart or not. In fact, if people underestimate your intelligence, that's actually good. You know why? Because you can get them with the element of surprise. When people think you're smart, they will plot against you. So let them think you're not smart. Just let them think you're, dumb or average or whatever. Just be like, whatever. You know what? I'm a blonde. People think I'm dumb. I'm fine with it. Let them not think I'm smart. That way they don't think I'm any kind of threat, and they're more likely to help me do things. There, you know, you just leave your pride at the door. Not a big deal, because you're going to get more help that way. If people don't think you're any kind of a threat. It's all about leaving your ego at the door. Okay, so you want to do that. You want to leave your ego at the door. Not worry what other people think. There is partially in society where you do want to care what other people think to a degree, but at the end of the day, you don't want to be consumed with how society is, because society is fickle. Okay, one day everybody might like you, one day they may not. And you would be surprised how much people like you when you stop caring. When you just start being yourself, your authentic self, all of a sudden people they're like, oh wow, you know, this person's actually really cool. Because they stopped caring about people pleasing, and you stopped caring about whether people like you or not. You know, when I started just being myself, and I stopped trying to make everybody happy and stopped trying to live for other people, that's when everybody started liking me. You know, I just started, and the real me came out. I started getting rid of all these people that liked me for the wrong reason. At first it hurt my feelings because, you know, some people wanted to stop following me. Some people said some really rude things to me, and I'm like, well, who are they? I wouldn't trade places with them. You know, in my mind, they're losers. So why do I care? I mean, you know, I didn't think much of them in the first place. So why do I care what they think? Those are the kind of people I don't want to be around in the first place. So why do I care? I mean, that's their problem. It's coming from their own insecurity. I triggered something in them. They don't feel good about themselves. That's why they said rude things. So, you know, rejection is God's protection. I know I said that in another content, but I mean, I will stand behind that. So always say positive things. Say my life is filled with abundance. You know, I'm always open to learn. I like learning. I'm open to learning. Okay, I'm healthy. Always talk about how healthy you are. You know, I stopped concentrating on how sick I was, and I decided that, you know, that I was healthy, and I went to the doctor today after a blood panel, and I got a clean bill of health. I mean, nothing was wrong with me. Yeah. And a few years ago, I was extremely sick, and I'm getting so much better. And I don't have to have another blood panel for another 6 months. And I'm doing really well. And that was just incredible. And it's just, I'm taking good care of myself, and I'm eating really well, and I'm getting exercise, and I'm you know, practicing positive thinking. Okay, and I have faith, and I'm just doing my thing. I'm living my best life, you know, and I'm refusing to be scared. That's another thing. You got to refuse to be scared, because if you live your life consumed in fear, that is just no way to live. You know, there are a lot of things outside that can scare you. Here's some of the best piece of news I could ever give you. Do not watch the news. Don't watch it. It's full of propaganda. It's, you know, journalism is all slanted by that particular person's viewpoint. So, and it's a lot of sensationalism, and it's a lot of negativity, and you're going to live longer, and your mind is going to prosper better if you do not watch it. Okay, and it's a lot of nonsense. Okay, so that's probably some of the best advice I'm ever going to give you. So please don't watch the news. I mean, you want to know what's going on in the world, but in the same way, it's going to mislead you a lot. Okay, so just just stop watching it. Um, I used to stay in this apartment building with a lot of older people, and all they used to do is watch the news because that was the generation that watches the news and believes everything they see. And they used to come up and did you watch the news? I go, no, that's against my beliefs. And they'd be like, they didn't understand it. They thought it was against my religious beliefs, but I would just say it's against my beliefs. And then I would change the subject and say, isn't it a beautiful day? How are your grandkids? And I would just start saying nice things. What'd you have for dinner tonight? And I would change the subject. I would start concentrating on positive things. And so, how's this? How's that? And I would just start asking nice questions. Just stuff older people like to talk about. And I mean, I would get them off that negative, because they're old and they're thinking about negative things. I'm like, and I don't mean to be dark, but they're just speeding up their own death. I mean, just talking about all that negative stuff. And I'm like, you guys, you're retired, you're old, and all you're doing is thinking about negative stuff. Like, stop. And I mean, I'm middle age, and I don't want to think about like negative stuff. I'm trying to live my best life. I don't like that. So I would just keep changing the subject because they all did it. That they're just in that age group where they did stuff like that. So I would just redirect them in a polite way because they're my elders, but I would just, change the subject, and it's like I would see their whole demeanor change. Oh, well, and I'm like, well, how's your son? How's your daughter? And I would just start asking polite questions about other stuff. And and I would just make small talk like, oh, I went to the store today, and just whatever, just to get their mind off the news, and I just felt like I was doing God's work, honestly, just to get their minds off of it, just to talk about something else. So this is about the power of positive thinking. So when you're thinking positive and when you're coming from a place of abundance, that's when you manifest positive things. So if I can leave you with that thought today, just remember positivity, okay? Stop talking to yourself in a negative way. Stop talking about your body in a negative way. Stop talking about being sick, okay? Stop talking about how you don't like the way your body looks, okay? Just stop, okay? Just love yourself. Stop talking about other people in a negative way. Stop talking about your environment in a negative way. Just stop talking about your partner in a negative way. Just be positive about everything, all right? And just be a good person. And just everything you say, positivity. And if you're complaining about something, phrase it in a good way and do it in a problem-solving way, okay? That's the only time you should talk about something that isn't positive. Try to say it in the best possible way, and it needs to be action oriented only. No complaining, okay? No toxic dumping and venting. All right? Okay, this has been Queen Juliana, your Dark Mask Diva. I hope this has helped somebody. I hope this blesses somebody, and you guys have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.